Check out our friends at Iron Wolf Ranch and Distillery in the beautiful hill country just down the road in Spicewood.
Go there for cocktails, live music, and fun times. Plus, grab a bottle to go.
They're family and dog friendly with 15 acres of games and hill country views, award-winning craft spirits. They have it all.
Bring your pack. It's a really cool vibe. There's something for everyone.
Ask for Iron Wolf at local bars and restaurants. Check them out online and social media.
Iron Wolf Ranch and Distillery, bold spirits, Texas attitude.
You're listening to CobraCast.
The cobra injects deadly venom through its fangs, like toxins through a pair of hypodermics.
This is the CobraCast, and here's your host, Bobby Sharron.
Oh, shit. Oh, the first curse word of the night.
Oh.
We dropped it already.
Boom.
Boom. Like a bomb. Anyways, please welcome to episode number 415 of the CobraCast podcast with my very special guest tonight. I can't believe it. Mandy Prater's in the house.
Oh, thank you.
Holy moly guacamole. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Before we go any further, I was talking to Mr. Kenny Sharron today.
Kenny. I love Kenny.
I love Kenny. Kenny is my man.
Kenny's insane.
Insanely talented.
Yeah.
He just got off the what is it, the Dead?
Mickey Hart?
Yeah, he was drum teching for the
Yeah.
Grateful Dead. What is it? I can't remember the name of the tour.
I think it's the Mickey Hart something tour. I don't remember, but yeah.
But I told him you were coming on, and he had nothing but
Awesome.
wonderful things to say about you. So
Kenny, I miss him.
and the misses and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So.
He helped us out a lot. He came on as sort of a drum tech, but he actually ended up almost being like a musical director for us for a while.
Really?
He helped us with our arrangements and our stage game and all kinds of stuff. So he was super, super helpful. And of course, as you mentioned, he's an insanely talented drummer.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, when it
Yeah.
comes to tuning and stuff, he's like he's on another planet, that guy. You know?
Yeah.
Just totally is.
Yeah, he's got his whole drum tech like persona out there,
Yeah.
and it's really impressive what he's done with it.
I mean, he's been out with everybody like Stevie Wonder and
Rihanna, Janet.
oh yeah, he's out on the Janet tour,
Yeah,
and he did the
yeah.
what do you call it? He was Train's guy for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Then he
Yeah.
last time I talked, one of the last time I talked to him, it was before the COVID. I always say the COVID.
The COVID.
Anyways, he was out with I think it was Elvis Costello and
Oh,
Blondie.
right.
Did that one too. So
Yeah.
but he's back home now for a little bit. But he's
Good.
kind of doing the Dead thing off and on. So
Okay, cool.
he says hello.
Well, good. Maybe I'll have to get a hold of him. I, would love to do some kind of a collab with him one day.
He's good people. So what have you been up to now that? So is the pandemic over now? Is that what the deal is? Or are we still in it?
I think we're still in it. I think it's yet to be determined if and when it'll be over, right?
Yeah.
I'm still kind of operating in pandemic life in a way. When that all started, I had already been doing some live streaming for about a year before the pandemic started, and when lockdown happened, I just went full into live stream mode and started a Twitch channel, and so I've been doing. I just had like my 200th show on Twitch a couple weeks ago, and thanks. So
200's a big one.
Yeah, and got partnered on Twitch, which is kind of a big deal. It's kind of like you have to meet certain requirements of viewership and all that kind of stuff. So.
I noticed you tagged my Twitch on there today. Mine is, I just signed up not even like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I don't think anybody's even looked at my stuff.
Are you multi-streaming to it right now with this? Oh, okay, cool.
But the thing is, I don't go as far as what you do, because I actually tuned in last night for like about a half hour with yours.
Oh, cool.
And I mean, you got everything kind of going on, and my thing is I just want to put this wherever people can see it. And it's tough to kind of for a podcast, it's kind of tough to try to interact with people on comments and stuff and all that. You know what I mean?
Right. Especially if you're interviewing someone.
Yeah, I
to
don't
keep track of all that. It's a lot.
I don't consider these interviews. I really don't. I'm the worst interviewer on the planet. I ask some questions here and there, but it's more of a free flow kind of conversation.
Chat, yeah.
Yeah. I like it that way because it's,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard every question in the book and you're kind of like, okay, here's this one again,
Right. Yeah. And it's like even if you try to prepare for that kind of an interview, you're better off just kind of going with the flow. But yeah.
So how did you, so you started on Twitch?
Well, I started actually on Facebook. I was doing Facebook Lives and I would stream on Instagram. And then a couple people who I would like post little clips of my Facebook streams on my Instagram, and people from Instagram were finding me and going, you should go on Twitch. And I'm like, okay, never heard of it, but I was curious. And then my friend Dan Hardick, who is the leader of the Finger Pistol band that I play with here in town, he knew some people and he started looking into it, and so we kind of learned together, and he actually showed me how to use OBS broadcasting software, and
I'm still learning on that.
It's very complicated. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but it's just like, I got to do what now? Like when you
I can show you some stuff, trust me, because I got it down to a point now where the streams are perfect. I tell you, I went through the pandemic, not to interrupt you, but I went through the pandemic with every stream was fucking up, and it was in and out because of the bandwidth and the resolution. So finally, I went out and bought a brand new computer. Then I had a problem with that thing. Then it was a big hot mess, and maybe about 2 months ago, I finally figured it out.
Yeah,
it's a runs 100%. Curve. Yeah,
it's a huge learning curve, and there's that, and like you said, like on Twitch, people also expect, you get all these graphics that you can put up with it, and it's just there's a lot more than just pushing go live on your Facebook stream.
Yeah,
so but it's been really fun, and I brought some of my Facebook viewer people with me over to Twitch, and they really helped me build up the channel to where, it started to just become my main job. And
well, it's good you had something to lean back on, though.
Yes,
right?
it really saved me. I just felt really very, very fortunate that I didn't have to make the choice between, do I feel safe going into playing music in a live environment right now, when I really didn't, and so I was able to play music still, but at my house, and have people from all over the world watching, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So, and then people from all over the world become friends with each other through your channel. So when you start, it's like everybody's walking into cheers and saying hello to each other, and it's just really fun.
I need to invest some more time in that then. Because from what I understand, because I knew Twitch is a gaming platform.
Right.
And I knew,
and it mostly still is. I mean, the gaming portion is probably 100 times bigger than the music portion.
Right. I think it's going to change, though, because I know they're doing podcast stuff on there now.
Oh, they totally do. Yeah. I mean, well, like even big national things like the Young Turks have broadcast on, and different things like that on Twitch. Rolling Stone does, everybody does now. So, but it is very much focused on the interaction between you and the viewers.
Right.
And responding to their comments, and which as a musician, that's kind of hard to get used to, because, it's like people are interrupting you while you're playing your song at all moments, saying stuff, but you get to the point where you can keep on singing and read the chat while you're singing, and and
too much work,
and then kind of respond. It's very multitasking.
I tried doing that for this one time, because we're I basically my whole thing. First of all, I can't monetize this thing at all because of the language, just the topics we talk about, because you get a bunch of band guys up here with a few drinks, what can happen. So anyways, there's no I just do this for fun, And it's crazy to see all these podcasters out there now, and it's all about money for them now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do a podcast to make money. I don't care about the podcast. I just want to make a bunch of cash.
Sponsorship, sell vitamins, whatever it is they're doing. Yeah.
And I'm over here going, hey, what about me?
Yeah.
I'm just like, but I do it for fun. But what was I going to say though? I can't monetize this. Like I said before, it's just, they won't touch it, And I've gotten a couple flags on YouTube. Oh,
really?
Oh, yeah, for stuff.
That's crazy.
You know, and it's going to get worse because now they're talking about if you don't have on YouTube, if you don't have enough content, they're actually axing channels.
Really?
Like you might just go on your channel one day and it's gone.
That's crazy. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Well, because, and maybe they don't just want people using it as a repository for 8-year-old videos storage, you know, maybe they're trying to clear up some storage space or something, but
There's so much on there.
that's what it's for, right? I mean,
100%.
you can find almost anything on YouTube.
How do you think I did this?
Right?
Let me tell you
How
something.
to do anything, right?
OBS stuff,
Yeah.
Facebook Live stuff. I mean, even like setting up, soundboards and stuff.
Right.
If it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't be sitting here with you right now with this stuff.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I learned to use my looping pedal, just watching videos on YouTube. I bought one 12 years ago with like KT Tunstall and all that when coming out. And I was like, I want to do that. And so I bought a looping pedal, brought it home, could not just figure out how to get it to work. And the manuals on those things suck.
Oh, yeah, they're terrible.
So
If it's a Japanese product, it's the worst.
Yeah, and I didn't have YouTube, or I didn't know, or at the time, I don't know if you could just go on YouTube and watch 82 different people show you how to do it.
Yeah.
It's amazing, the like knowledge base that we have access to.
Well,
now.
and I'm a gearhead. You could look around and I love gear, and when something new comes out, I'm always like, I'm looking at reviews before I buy this stuff.
Totally. Yeah.
And it's just a plethora of great stuff on there, man. You can't go wrong. And then you could watch podcasts and everything else. And
yeah.
I search for the most goofiest shit on there during the day at work. I'll be looking at just stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And if people were if they actually found out what I was looking at, they'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy.
Yeah.
Totally. Hey, so let's go back in time. You're from Indiana, right?
Correct. Yeah. Small town in Indiana, northeastern Indiana. Yeah.
So how big is John Mellencamp up there? Is he like
gosh.
Is he like huge?
He's like the poet laureate of Indiana. Honestly,
he must be.
Well, I just remember even when I was like 2 or 3 years old, I knew who he was. My dad, when he came on the radio, my dad would like quiz me, who's that on the radio? I'd be like, John Cougar at the time.
It was John Cougar,
and yeah, very popular, very popular.
The ex-girlfriend I was talking to you about, the one I went out with years ago.
Yeah.
She actually was from Bloomington.
Oh, cool.
And she went to high school with his kids.
No way.
And they're all in their 40s and 50s now, I would think,
Yeah.
because he's almost 70, 75,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
But she was telling me stories about those kids, how wild they were back in the
I bet.
day.
Yeah.
Knowing him and everything else.
Yeah, a little wild there, but yeah, I grew up loving all of his music.
His music is great.
Yeah. So
how'd you make your way down here?
Well, it's kind of a roundabout story, but
we got time.
right?
We got time. We got liquor.
So yeah, I grew up in small town Indiana. I started my first band when I was in like 8th grade. Started playing guitar because of Nirvana and bands like that. And but after high school, I went to Chicago for college, and that's where I met my now husband, but boyfriend then. And after college, like, he was like, I want to move somewhere else. And I'm like, really? I really like Chicago. But so we decided to move to New Orleans.
Did you go through a Chicago winter?
Yeah, that was the thing too. I was like,
no.
The last winter that I lived in Chicago, like, it got really cold to where like your car would just freeze up and not start.
Yeah.
And so I'd be going out at night in my giant puffer coat to start my car and run it at like midnight before I went to bed, hoping that it would be warm enough to not freeze over.
I could tell you those stories. I'm from Connecticut. It's
okay.
the same kind of crazy stuff, man.
Yeah.
Really crazy stories.
It's just like, and I was like, that's the thing. Like, I really love a city like Chicago, but if it was as warm as Austin, I would love to live there again, but I like cold just equals pain to me.
It does. It sucks. It's the
I
worst.
can't deal with it. And so we moved to New Orleans. That was a bit of a culture shock. Just people are just so much more outgoing and friendly in the South. Like, it's almost rude if you make eye contact with somebody not to say hi, whereas in Chicago, if you say hi to somebody, they're like, look at you weird, It's
like New York, same thing.
Right. So we lived down there for about a little over a year, and then Hurricane Katrina happened.
Oh boy, I can see where this is going.
Yeah, so we actually were like, let's get out of town to be safe. Let's take a road trip to Austin. Let's go check it out, because we thought we might want to move here eventually. Anyway.
But I mean, they were calling them refugees, right? Was that what the word for them?
Yeah, or evacuees.
I hate to say refugees.
We became refugees. Yeah.
Right, but I remember a big population of people from there they just shipped them here to Austin.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing them all over the place.
It was like overflow from Houston. Houston took a ton of people.
That's right. Yeah, Houston took them.
But then they couldn't all fit there, so they were coming up to here too.
That's right. You're right.
We got here early enough that we weren't like the aftermath. Had come before it hit, so we just booked the Austin motel on South Congress for a couple days.
Is that place still there?
Yeah, it
is
still
it really?
is. I think.
I remember that place. Yeah.
Yeah, and just stayed there, and then we watched our neighborhood get flooded on national TV,
man.
and we're like, oh no. So we ended up going and spending some time with our families in the Midwest for a couple months, and then when we decided that it wasn't really a good environment to move back to New Orleans, the place we were living was destroyed, so we just decided to move to Austin because we liked it. And
did you try to go back and get some of your stuff?
We did. We weren't actually allowed to go into our neighborhood for like 6 or 8 weeks because it was so flooded and there was no power. Even when we went back in late October, there was still no power in 2 months afterwards. So we'd just go get up early, work like 12 hours till it started getting dark, trying to clean out the place. And then we did that for 2 days, and we basically ended up with like one whole carload worth of stuff that we could bring with us. And so we pretty much had to start over, but having just come out of college at the time, it was kind of like we didn't have a lot of stuff anyway. But luckily, my musical instruments and stuff hadn't been destroyed, so that's good. That was nice. My first guitar that I'd had since I was like 13. That kind of stuff. So we did lose some stuff, but anyway, fast forward to Austin. Been here 15, 16 years now, and
God, has it been that long since that happened?
Yeah, it was 2004. I
remember because I was working at Dell at the time that all that went down, and they were sending people from Dell over to the I'm trying to think where the
05, sorry.
Was it 05? Yeah, because I left in 2010. So there was, I think Palmer Auditorium had a bunch of people that had cots and stuff.
Oh man.
And some of us went down there to pass out blankets and sheets and stuff like that.
That's cool.
To kind of help out, but yeah, it was a mess, man.
It was amazing just how much people wanted to help and how generous everybody was, and just wanted to do whatever they could, and so that was nice. It was helpful. But yeah.
So did you jump right into the music scene when you got here?
Totally. Yeah, I think I saw a couple Craigslist ads that were looking for band members, and I joined like 2 bands within about a month of being here, and so played around in the cover band world for quite a while.
That's the weird thing, because when I moved here, let's say 30 years ago now.
Yeah.
If you played in a cover band, you really couldn't. There wasn't that many opportunities for you. It was either you go to Maggie Mae's on 6th Street and play a weekend.
Yeah.
But the rest of the street was all original, and so if you didn't play original music, you were stuck. Or you could play weddings, or
right.
But the frat party scene was huge.
Right.
You could make a ton of money doing that.
Yeah.
But it was all original, and right around 2000-ish, 2005-ish, a lot of the cover things started kind of coming back in.
Yeah.
Then the original thing kind of went away because the cover bands were making all the money, and then the original bands were kind of just suffering because no one was selling records. It was at that time when, Apple came in,
Napster and
MP3s and all shit.
Yeah.
And no one was buying CDs and all this kind of stuff. So I think now it's kind of turning around again, which I love because, I love cover bands, don't get me wrong. But it's, it's like it's like watching that movie Groundhog Day. You've seen it a million times.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to see something fresh.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I've played in so many different bands since I've been here. But it's a great way to develop your chops too, and trying to sing like
all the
greats, and
That's the thing, because you have to be a good singer, especially for a singer. You have to know what you're doing, because to cover all those ranges.
Yeah. So that was cool. But yeah, there were points, and there's been a point where it was kind of like, okay, what am I doing? Because I love doing that stuff. I grew up listening to classic rock. I love playing classic rock and 80s music and 90s music and stuff. But it's the other side of that is kind of like it doesn't quite fulfill the creative side as much.
Oh, of course.
So, but again, if you're trying to like make a living playing music, sometimes playing covers is a necessary portion
evil
of that.
Yeah.
Like even what I do on my Twitch channel, I have a list of about 200 songs that people can choose from, and they just hit a button. There's a thing called Streamer Song List that's you can link it up with your Twitch channel, and then you post a link in the chat, people can click the link, and then they go and they can just hit the request button on your list of songs, and it'll automatically add it to a queue, kind of like in order
like
that people request them. Yeah, and then there's a place where you can link that and have it on your screen so people can see what's coming next. Yeah.
So you just play them in order.
It's a lot of stuff, and you play them in order, and there's ways you can, like, if somebody gives $20 or something, you can bump their song to the top. There's all different kinds of things.
It's a fucking racket.
Yeah, there's all different kinds of ways. Well, in my channel it's like $5, but
those $5 add up though after.
They do, and so.
How long are your streams?
Usually about 3 to 4 hours.
Wow, that's a lot of.
Yeah, so I'll play around. Depends on the day, 25 to 40 songs probably in any given day. So it's about the length of but having come from the cover band world where you do 3 and 4 hour gigs,
right? Yeah, I'm
kind of used to that, so it wasn't super hard, but it's really fun, and people just come in and hang out,
It's almost like having a Las Vegas residency, because you have all new people coming in.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not like, because
it's not like playing at the same physical bar location.
Yeah, and having the same people come in every day.
You're hemmed in by who lives within 5 miles of that, and that's going to want to come. Yeah, but so I have mainly cover tunes, but I have about 15 or 16 originals. And it's been really cool to me that a lot of the people that are regulars at my shows, they really love the originals and they request those.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Like more than the covers. They have favorite covers that they'll request too. But I mean, they've really encouraged me. Like, that's how my single On the Outside came about. I wrote that song during pandemic. So I was playing it. They were requesting it a lot. They were like, where can I buy this? I want to buy this song. You need to record it. And they actually kind of pushed me to crowdfund a recording of the CD.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So, and helped donate money to it and stuff. So
that's great.
It's a very symbiotic relationship where, there are a lot of people that don't live within a decent, distance from a bar that they want to go hang out at and see music, like all over the country. They have reasons that keep them at home.
That's the weird thing when you leave Austin, because there's so many people that complain about Austin. Oh, Austin's not what it was. Yeah. But then you leave Austin, you like go up into Oklahoma,
we're so spoiled,
and there's
here.
Like nothing up there. There's a couple bars here and there, because I remember my old band would go up. We do Oklahoma, we do like Colorado, whatever. We do that whole what do you call it, New Mexico.
It's a cool area to travel in.
Yeah. But, Austin's got its own thing. And when you come back, you're like, oh, I get it now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think for a while we were kind of losing that. Yeah. It kind of was, not say going away, but it wasn't what it once was. But then again, what is?
Right. People always complaining about, it was always better back when,
Back in the day, it was awesome. I remember back in the day.
Yeah.
But, I've been telling people, I said, with this whole pandemic thing, it's really sad that like a bunch of venues kind of went under, but in their wake, there's a ton of stuff coming back up. So I think the scene's going to be okay. I think there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, and as long as enough musicians are able to stay here.
Yeah.
It's
a little expensive. It's getting a little expensive.
They're hanging in. They're hanging in there. So.
Well, that comes in. But that comes to the club owners paying the bands what they should be getting,
Right. And that's which is hard for them because how expensive the real estate is here now. What are they paying in rent? What are they paying in property taxes?
Everything is going up.
So, yeah, you feel for those guys, too, that are trying to make their business work. But it's like musicians in Austin haven't gotten a raise in 50 years.
Right.
Or in some cases are paying less than...
You know the guys and girls on Madam Radar, right?
A little bit. I haven't really met them, but I know the band.
Great band. But anyways, there's 2 girls and 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're all family related somehow.
Oh, okay.
Jason and Kelly are married. Cody is Kelly's brother, and then Violet is, I think she just came in as a bass player.
Oh, cool.
But what they do is they'll play, Madam Radar gigs, but like whenever they have a chance, there'll be a duo, Cody and Jace will play over here while, Kelly and Violet are over at this gig over
wow.
here. And, they all live together, but they make it work. And they're constantly working because they split it up into, I don't know how many different variations of that band they can do, but they do it and they get it done.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a hustle, though. I mean...
They're probably one of the hardest working bands here, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because they're just constantly out there all the time.
Yeah, it's like you have to if that's what you're trying to do for your living. If you don't also have some other day job or something.
That was my thing because during the pandemic, my job is essential. So I didn't really. I'm gonna say vacation. I don't want to call it a vacation, but I had to go to work with a mask on and everything else. So I had to go to work. So and then I did this, but then it got to a point with this. I had to start doing Zooms.
Oh, did you do it that way for a while?
Fuck, I hated it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever set up a Zoom. Have you done it?
I've done it once or twice.
But
yeah,
I did it for like 60 episodes. But the problem is if it's a band, they're all not in the same place.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to set up 4, 5, 6 different boxes, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to worry about video feeds. And you have to worry about their audio feed.
Ugh.
So I'm over here trying to just do all this. I had one guy, and I tell the story all the time because it cracks me up, and it cracks everybody up when I tell it. He had dial-up.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
In 2020?
He lived out in the country or something. He couldn't get anything else.
Oh, wow.
So, but it worked, but it was like, the frames were like,
wow.
like that kind of thing. You could hear them, but I just got to the point, I'm like, we're going to have to, maybe have to reschedule this or do something else.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
But it is what it is. It's a necessary evil for the times.
Yeah.
But, here we are. We survived,
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of nice to be able to be in person.
Yeah.
To some degree again.
So when I came back, just to be safe with everything, I got like 3 sets of these. These get switched out every episode. I was actually testing myself for COVID once a week.
Wow.
Just to make sure that people came up, they were safe.
Right. Yeah.
And it's all worked out so far.
Good.
So, I don't know. So you're back out playing, though.
Yeah, I do. Well, I have a couple places that I have kind of a residency at. So I've been doing those whenever possible. Mainly playing outside shows. Like this weekend, I'm playing at 360 Uno, which is a little Italian place over in Westlake.
Okay.
So that's kind of a fun little spot.
How's the food? Good?
Yeah, they have like Italian,
I'm a sucker for Italian food.
They have like the typical Italian stuff, but then they always have some like really good specials, like fish specials and stuff like that, and pizzas are good. They got gelato, and they have a really good like wine list and stuff like that. So
they got gelato; they're legit.
Yeah.
How the cannoli? Cannoli good?
I haven't tried the cannoli, but they do have them. So
it's not a real Italian place.
Maybe I'll have to try one next time just so I can give the report. But that place, and then up here in not up here, but in Pflugerville, there's this place called Three Legged Goat. And
I know that's that, yeah.
I've been playing there for a couple years, and then with Finger Pistol, we have every Tuesday night at the Little Longhorn.
Oh.
So for like the past 4 or 5
cool
years,
place.
We've been doing that. Yeah. So I play with them. They have another singer named Meg, but we kind of trade off.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's really fun. I got a little bit of initiation into the country music world through playing with them. I grew up
country's big, man.
I grew up not being involved in country whatsoever. Like having grown up in Indiana, my parents were not country music fans at all. We only listened to rock and pop music, and so I kind of was conditioned against it. But I really like the classic country stuff. Like, and that's what Finger Pistol plays. Like,
Yeah, I'm
old
big into that
school
too.
classic country, and then kind of original music that's based off of like Bakersfield style country.
Well, you know, the new country's not even country. It's like pop music.
Well, that's like my song On the Outside. Like, you know, it kind of sounds country. It's getting played on country radio here in Texas, but it's really not country. It's more like Wallflowers or Matchbox 20 or Tom Petty or something more than it. But to like now, country music is almost the only music playing using real guitars other than like metal. I mean, there's not a lot. There's a pretty small lane of like rock music coming out on the radio, I feel like.
I haven't listened to like, you know, regular radio in forever.
Yeah, like it's like pop radio is pop. Like pop radio used to include, you know, bands. Now it's almost all electronic music, I feel like.
Well, a lot of it's like hip hop and, you know, hip hop and rap and all that kind of stuff, and it's like all auto tune and everything else. That's what's big right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't listen to it. I get like so turned off by it because it's like, how do I put this? Not sound like a jerk. Okay, I'm going to sound like a jerk anyways. It's just, I think singers in that genre, they don't put enough time into like learning how to sing, so they just take the auto tune and they just kind of, you know, spice their voice up good enough to put on a record
To make it sound interesting enough for anybody to care. They have to do something weird to it, right?
And it's insane how big it is. That's what I see something like Travis Scott. He's so huge.
I know.
And his stuff is terrible. No offense.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
It's like I don't really know his music, but I know a lot of the sort of pop rap kind of stuff. I'm just like, what's the appeal? I don't know.
When I was a kid, you know, it was excuse me. It was like, okay, Kiss was monstrous when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
That was the thing. And my parents would go, no, the band's terrible. They're horrible. You know, listen to Frank Sinatra or listen to whatever.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah.
And then, so every generation has their thing.
Right. Totally.
You know, so I guess that's today's generation's thing. You know, and I just don't. But to me, you're right. I mean, when it comes to like actually learning an instrument, everybody runs to a turntable now.
Right. Or their computer and they're making beats, which, you know,
which is great.
That's cool too. You can make actual music on a computer, you know, that sounds great without ever plugging in a real instrument to it. But
there are those shining lights still of new bands coming up that are, you know, I mean, I think the last big one was what's that Zeppelin cover band thing?
Oh, I thought you were going to say that Greta Van Fleet.
Greta Van Fleet, that's them. Yeah. That had a little shining hope in it.
That was kind of a...
But there's there's a band called Dirty Honey that's out that's really good. A lot of that kind of Black Crowsy, kind of bluesy rock kind of stuff. I love all that. You know, metal, I think metal's going to stay prevalent forever. I mean, metal's never going away. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, I still listen to that stuff. I mean...
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, one of my biggest joys of like the past 6 months is when I watched Lollapalooza and Limp Bizkit was on it. You know what I mean? I was like going...
That's great.
And I mean, they're making a comeback after like 20 years.
Yeah.
And they sounded great.
Good. I'm glad.
You got to check that out. They're those guys are...
Oh, yeah. That was back in my day. That was like my high school days when they came out. Late high school days, I think.
They were monstrous, and all of a sudden they just went away. You know?
Yeah.
Just... I don't know.
But yeah.
But yeah, I haven't like really kind of been turned on to anything new that I really like. I mean, from like a mainstream band, you know?
Yeah.
Because what it seems like to me these days is like all the older bands are coming back and making comebacks.
Right.
You know, so there's, because honestly, I think it's super hard to break a band. Financially, it's super hard to break a band to get them out there. It's like, the only thing you're really kind of pimping is their live shows.
Right.
Because you're not selling product, you're not selling albums, you're selling merch, and you're selling live shows.
And in the past year, that's been non-existent. So, yeah, it's like, how do you, will any band ever be as big as the Rolling Stones or U2 or,
ain't gonna happen.
You know, or Nirvana, because you just can't, because the music business is not that way anymore.
Yeah, it's not centered around selling albums anymore.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, to me, like now, and I don't really consider myself a singer-songwriter, but that's kind of the category that I
That's
fit
what I put you
into
down as
right
tonight. I
now.
can change it if you
Yeah,
want.
no, that's fine. But you know, people that are also referred to as singer-songwriters like Brandi Carlile or
Right.
people like that I really like what they're doing these days. But I grew up always just wanting to be in a band. Even most of the music that I write still has some kind of guitar hook in it. You know, I just can't help it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a complete song if there's not some kind of guitar lick or you got to have something in the melody. And so most of my songs, I feel like I want a full band to play them.
Right.
But because of pandemic, and especially right now, and after having been in the Misses for 7 years, I'm kind of a solo artist right now. And I haven't really put a full band together for a long time.
So are the Misses still around then?
Well, during pandemic, it kind of got really hard for us to get together. And 2 of the ladies have kids, so they were dealing with the kids being out of school. And Larissa, our keyboard player, started a career as an integrative healthcare practitioner. So she's kind of more onto that path now. So it's kind of iffy as to whether that's gonna kind of reformulate at some point or not. But yeah, that's partly why I been so busy doing live streams and stuff, because the Misses were just
Kind of just hanging out.
pretty much not, for multiple reasons, not really able to get together and do anything.
All I got to say is
So-
pandemic, and that'll just explain everything.
Yeah.
Especially when, I mean, you're married, you have kids.
Yeah.
You have to take care of the kids. You're under lockdown. It's like,
Right.
what are you gonna do? I mean, you're gonna
Right.
practice over what do you call it?
Zoom
over
or
Zoom.
whatever.
That's what I was looking for. Over Zoom.
Yeah, and that's really hard. I mean, we even tried to get together a couple of times and rehearse, and I was like, wanting everybody to wear a mask, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
It's hard to sing with masks on, and I mean, I've done it many times for actual gigs in the past year, but it's not fun.
There's been a lot of bands that actually recorded, because the way, I mean, you could record. Everybody's got a home studio pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And okay, I'm gonna send my drum tracks. I'll send them over to Joey. Joey's gonna put his guitars on. He's gonna bounce it over to Bruce. Bruce is gonna put his vocals on it. And they're actually coming out with phenomenal records that way.
That's really cool. I'm really glad that some people have been able to use that time productively that way.
That's the whole thing. I said,
Yeah.
and I was saying, if you're an original musician, and if you're on lockdown with nothing to do, if you don't come out of being in pandemic mode for a year and a half without a full-length album, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You need to reevaluate your life. You know what I mean? Because
Totally.
honestly,
Yeah. I know. I that was kind of my plan. I haven't really made it that far yet, but
so
for
you're just doing singles
a
now?
number of reasons, yeah, including just not being able to get the right people to play at the right times. But
That's always a bitch too.
yeah, I mean, I play most instruments to a degree, but I also it's also just nice to have other people's vibes in there,
And
too.
input too.
I mean, I recorded an entire EP by myself several years ago, where I played every instrument on it. Bass, drums, electric and acoustic guitar.
Oh, wow.
Kazoo, tambourine.
You brought everything in, huh?
And
There you go.
mixed and did everything myself. And I mean, it's definitely sounds very DIY, but it's the songs still hold up. So it's called Those Days. It's on all my band camps and everything like that. You can still get it out there. But
Does your husband play at all, or?
No, he's more of a visual artist. But he actually did help me with that record a little bit. He
That's cool.
helped me, helped engineer it while I was recording things, and helped listen and mix and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to have an extra set of ears on it.
Totally.
Ears and eyes,
Yeah, he's actually been trying to get me to do some demos. He's like, let's work on some demo. I just bought Logic for my new computer that I got, and like, let's do some demos of your songs that you haven't released yet. And so we might start doing that soon.
Well, that'd be cool.
But the past year plus, I just got so sucked into the Twitch world. That's been really
In the Matrix, huh?
That's been really my focus. So, and it's real easy to get sucked in because it's also the networking with other musicians. You end up watching other people's streams a lot.
Yeah.
I've probably spent almost as much time watching other people as I have doing my own show. But I've met a lot of really great people on there too.
So how many, if you had to guess, what's the percentage of like musicians on there as opposed to like gamers?
I don't know, probably 10% or less.
Yeah,
maybe even 3 to 5%. It's not a huge amount. There's like over 1 million channels on Twitch. There might be 20 or 30,000 music channels. Something
I wonder
like
if that's
that.
going to be like the next Facebook or whatever, you know? Because I know,
Yeah.
what do you call it? TikTok is a new thing.
Right.
And everybody's
yeah.
asking me, you got a TikTok? You got a TikTok? I'm like, no. I can't dance. I'm the worst dancer ever.
You could probably get little clips on. I have a TikTok. I haven't done a lot with it though. It's hard enough for me just keeping up with Instagram posts, Twitter posts.
That's the whole thing. It's like, you know, I'm on Twitter, but I'm barely on it.
Yeah,
you know what I
same.
mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like a Facebook guy. And I put stuff on Instagram, you know, here and there. But I need to kind of step up my game. But, you know, the problem is I just don't have the time, you know?
It's time consuming.
I don't want to be that person because the whole social media world these days is, of course, when it comes to kids, is their whole life is online. You know, I mean, everything. And it's a thing where it's like, I want some privacy too. I don't want to put everything online, you know, or whatever. I remember back in the day, the America Online days. I don't know if you were part of that, like in the middle 90s.
Yeah, that was about when we first got our internet. I don't know if we were using AOL, but I remember all the chat rooms and all that stuff.
But they had this thing. It was like the groundbreaking thing where I'll never forget, this one girl that put cameras in every room of her apartment, and you would pay, I don't know, so much per month just to watch her life.
Yeah.
Right? It was this one girl.
That's crazy.
And what the crazy thing was that Coca-Cola offered her a deal for like 10 grand or something like that to take a Coke can and just put it in her kitchen on a thing. I think she took it because every time you see it, would be a Coke can there.
Wow.
Whatever. For advertising.
That's amazing.
So she was making like a ton of money. Where she would just go in, you turn it on and she'd be watching TV, doing her laundry, sleeping. I mean,
It's crazy.
You know what I mean? But they had like it was like a whole network of just that, you know. And I don't know how crazy it is now, but I never spent any money watching that kind of stuff. But I was like,
yeah.
But hey, you know what? If you're smart enough to think to do that, knock yourself out, man. All the power to you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. If you're, I hope that people didn't find out where she lived because that would. There's always some weirdos out there, you know. That
I've never had a stalker up here, so.
But good, yeah.
I don't know why they want to stalk me, anyways.
But you know,
that's the weird thing about this because I'm like, you know, there's not many podcasts like awesome podcasts it's more. Usually they're all audio, so that they're slowly turning into like video podcasts now. But I've been doing it this way since I began.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And but I'll go out and there'll be people that will walk up to me. Yeah, I listened to episode 35 yesterday, and I'm like,
and they recognize you. And
yeah, totally,
100%.
But and it's like I feel bad because I don't even remember the episode. I don't remember who was on. I mean, I can't remember all that.
No, there's no way.
You know, but they're all, I like what you said on this, or, you know, you need to have that person back. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about, but but it's weird. I could, you know, the whole Stalkers thing. I don't know. You haven't had any of that.
Well, there's been, there's been some, which that's really the only, one of the only complaints I have about streaming on Twitch.
No one locally.
Luckily, no. Well, I did have a guy locally that got a little weird, but I think that's done with.
Thank God.
Yeah, well, and it was scary because he was local, and I was like, at least the other guy that I had was in another country. So it was like
Stalkers in other countries.
Yeah, it's just people. Well, and the thing is, and like you just said, people feel like they know you.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Even though you may have never seen them, though for me it's a little different because on my Twitch channel, I always answer comments and interact with the people. So we really do have a relationship. It's just, where does that boundary of that relationship end?
Yeah.
And that's where people, and I've even experienced that from the other side, where I'm watching somebody else's channel and I feel like I really know them just from watching their channel for hours. But they may not feel that way about me because I'm just one of their viewers.
Right.
And so I've seen from both sides, but yeah, it gets weird when people when they start donating to your stream and
they think you owe them or
giving you
something,
tips and it's like, so a lot of, especially female, but not just female streamers, will have like a disclaimer. We've had to put disclaimers now on our about pages that are like, tips are non-refundable and they don't entitle you to anything other than whatever you're tipping. That's a good
thing to put
for,
down.
And it's just like the fact that we have to go there with it. It just sucks.
There's a lot of weirdos out there.
Yeah, there are. I mean, on the flip side, like I said, there are so many fantastic people that I met through Twitch and through even my Facebook streams that have become good friends and that have helped support me through a pandemic and are very grateful for the music, especially when every bar in the world was closed and every venue was closed. Just grateful that they could still hear music and could have people in their life that they could chat with, even if in a superficial way, on a music channel.
That's one thing I'm kind of bummed out about right now, is because during the pandemic, all the local musicians either had a YouTube show, a Facebook Live show, they got there with acoustic guitar or whatever. Yeah. And a lot of the shows are very well thought out, very cool. And then, of course, now they're getting back to playing that. The shows are kind of just going, we'll see, maybe once. It's like, okay, we don't have a gig on a Friday night. We'll jump online and we'll do something. I thought it was very cool.
Yeah,
I love this, all the stuff they're doing.
Staying consistent is, you make a commitment to your audience. Yeah. And for me, like, I have monthly subscribers now that have been subscribing for over a year to my Twitch channel, and they're looking forward to those my Monday and Wednesday happy hours and my Saturday night late night show.
So how many a week are you doing?
I do 3 usually.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
So yeah, Monday and Wednesday I start at 5 p.m. and then on Saturday I start around 10 or 11 at night and go late into the night.
People have been telling me to do a Patreon.
Me too.
And I'm kind of like going, you know what? I wouldn't pay for this.
Yeah.
Why am I going to ask anybody else to pay for this podcast?
I know, I feel like with a Patreon, most of the ones that are really successful, they offer very tangible or very consistent content or
extra episodes,
rewards, kind of or even, perks like free recording, like they commit to making like a recording a month and it's like I can barely keep, sometimes that's all I can do my 3 shows a week plus whatever live shows I'm doing in town that week, and it's like I don't want to set up the expectation and then like not be able to follow through on it.
Well, because that's the thing with this. I mean, because you're working by yourself, which is a great thing. You can kind of pop on anytime you want to.
Right.
But with me, it's like, I'll book, I got a full schedule for the rest of the month, right? But maybe Thursday will come and my episode will call me at 3:00 saying, hey, I can't make it tonight. Oh. And then you're like, okay, that episode's gone,
Right. What do you do? I mean, would you try to fill it or do you just say?
Back in the old days, I would freak out and I would have a panic attack about it because it was so new. I'm like, I have to have 2 a week. I have to have 2 a week. Now it's a thing where, it's like, I don't think people are going to jump off a bridge if there's not an episode of CobraCast. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I let it lay. And then, but it's weird how it works with the podcast thing. If I put out 1 a week, the one episode will do better. Like the audio and the video will do better if I have 2 that week.
Huh.
Because I think people get burnt out after a while. I was doing it at one point, I was almost doing, I think 2 or 3 a week. And people were just like, man, okay, it's great, but man, it's too much.
Yeah.
There's too much of you out there. You need to dial it back a little bit. So I went to 2, and then I would do 1 week, the next week would be 2, then back to 1 and 2, that kind of a thing. I might go back to that. I mean, I'm not looking just to put up numbers. It's like
right.
But I don't want to burn anybody out either,
Right. Of course, you're not holding a gun to anybody's head telling them to watch every single episode.
No, but there's a lot of people that do.
But it's cool that you have those people that do want to continue to come back.
But I would never, ever try to charge them for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I always said, I wouldn't pay for this.
I mean, you probably could do a Patreon if you're not charging, if there's not a way. I mean, you have fans that would like to feel like they support you.
Right.
And even if it was just $5 a month or even $2 a month, you might be surprised how many might chip in.
Well, and the weird thing, the thing about this is it's so local. It's like Central Texas because it's all Central Texas bands.
Yeah.
I'm not like, worldly like Joe Rogan or Joey Diaz or any of those guys that have these monstrous podcasts.
Right.
I just don't have that. I don't have the guests I have are local people. And that's the way I want to keep it. I want to keep it that way because, I think the scene needs like some kind of, place where the local artists can come in that are original artists and play their music, play their videos. Speaking of, we got some videos to play.
Oh, yeah.
Play some videos, talk about their bands, get it out there. I like the local stuff because, the local people, local bands really don't have any kind of avenues to go towards.
Right.
Not these days.
Yeah.
Everybody could bring a national act down and go, hey, I got, such and such from, Ozzy's guitar player or whatever. Okay, he's on today. It's like, that's great and all, but man, I've heard a million interviews from that guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd rather just do the local.
Well, people want new things that they haven't heard yet.
And the cool thing, I'm turning new bands on to everybody.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that the bands that come up are so appreciative. They're so ready to go. They're so happy and so excited to be here.
Yeah.
But then you get those bigger people up here like, oh, here's another one I got to do. I got to answer the same questions over and over again. I've been answering for the past 20 years.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
Let's get to this video. On the Outside. This is a new single, right?
Yeah, that's my newest single. It came out at the end of October. So currently on the Texas Internet Radio chart.
Wow.
Top 75 thing-ish. So, yeah.
We need to drive it up to number 1, people.
Yeah. What's
up with that?
I need to get into the top 50 so I can get on their Spotify playlist. That's kind of a goal. But, yeah. So, yeah, I wrote that song during pandemic, and it's just kind of about a daydream about wanting to have a normal day again.
So where did you film this at?
Okay, I have to tell a little secret. That's like, it's like stock footage.
Is it stock footage?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, but very, very carefully curated stock footage.
Okay.
But,
no one's going to know.
Well, Anthony, my husband, actually put it together for me.
Oh, awesome.
Because I was just super stressed I was actually filming an actual music video, and the guy who was the director / photographer guy kind of ended up flaking out because he discovered that he wasn't able to monetize other people's videos with other people's music in it on his YouTube. And so it just kind of got weird, and I was like, I'm just going to let him off the hook for this because it went on, and it got to the point where it's like, my song's been out a month and a half. I don't know how much good a music video is going to do me at this point. So
yeah, monetize is like a dirty word now. It really is.
Yeah, yeah. And I understand, but it's like, do you not know how YouTube works? Because it's like you're just going to get like, usually I think it's just a warning, but apparently he'd had a bad experience where somebody didn't tell him that they were in a dispute with their record company, and the whole video got taken down. And so, it was a whole thing. But, that I've had some hard lessons this past year or two about dealings with people and agreements and all that. 'Cause I don't feel usually when I meet somebody, I just trust that they're going to do what they say they're going to do, because
right.
I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do, and so I haven't been holding people to
a lot of shady stuff's going on.
But the music business is What's that? There's like a Hunter S. Thompson.
That's why they call it the music business.
It's like the music business is like a shallow plastic trench where good men die like dogs or something. And then
That's
he's
the
like,
good part.
there's also a negative side,
Yeah.
and it's like so true sometimes.
It's shady, I'll tell you that much. A lot of shadiness in the music business, big time. And
Yeah.
it's usually the artists that suffer.
It is, and
know?
the artist is usually the last one to get paid and the first one to be paying out money to everyone else. Every other service that they convince you that you need to have.
Is that one big word, recoupable?
Yeah,
I've heard some stories about that would make you like,
Ugh, it's terrible.
from because there's some bands that I know that actually had major record deals, and they told me those stories about that word. About what they owed at the end, and it was like ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah,
because people don't understand how a lot of stuff works.
No, so this is an independent release, so I don't have to worry about any
There you
of
go.
that.
Well, let's play. Here it is, On the Outside.
Windows, but I've been locked away, and I just had this feeling I need to escape. I don't know if there's something wrong, but nothing's really right. I'm sitting in a tunnel looking for the light, 'cause I just wanna run, but I don't have to hide. Get into the sun, meet me on the outside before I come undone. Zeppelin on the stereo, get the hell out of town. Racing down the back roads with no one else around. Let's go find that place again where we used to wait for trains and empty out this ruination rattling around my brain. 'Cause I just wanna run, but I don't have to hide. Get into the sun, meet me on the outside before I come undone. I wanna take a ride. We already won. You can meet me on the outside. Meet me on the outside. How can this day get better? It's feeling like a shot in the dark. How can this day get better? When's the last time you just looked up at the No bars on these windows, but I've been locked away, and I just had this feeling I need to escape. 'Cause I just wanna run where I don't have to hide. Get into the sun, meet me on the outside before I come undone. I wanna take a ride. We already won. Meet me on the outside. I just wanna run. I don't have to hide. Get into the sun, meet me on the outside before I come undone. I wanna take a ride. We already won. You can meet me on the outside. Meet me on the outside. Meet me on the outside. Meet me on the outside.
Beautiful video.
Thank you.
I love the desert.
Me too. I lived in Arizona for a short period. I went to school at a place called the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences, like for a like for audio engineering and stuff.
What brought that on?
Well, I was going to school in Chicago at the University of Chicago. That's where I met Anthony. And after a couple years, well, it was a very expensive school, and
aren't they all?
We got a lot of grants and stuff because my family is not wealthy or anything,
Right.
but it was still like a lot for my parents. With like, I have 3 stepsisters, a sister, and a stepbrother, and we're all within 5 years of each other,
Oh, wow.
almost in age. So there were a lot of kids getting ready to go to college,
Right.
and I'm like, I don't even know what degree I want to do. I just want to play music. So to kind of, I mean, my mom and dad, especially my mom was like, you have to get an education. It's like,
Something to fall back on.
I don't mean to bash on it, but it's like, oh yeah, it was always like, well, what's your backup plan going to be? And what's
I don't
your,
have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like, well, there's this belief that you have to, or that if you go to college, you therefore will get a good job and a good career. And that's not right.
That's not even
I know so
close to
many
being
people
true.
that, I'm not saying college is bad. College is great. It opens your mind, and further education is amazing, and I'm glad I went as much to the amount that I did, but it doesn't guarantee you anything. Just
Definitely not.
just
these days.
like anything else does. So I was like, okay, well, what if I go learn how to make records, and so I'll be an audio
There you go.
engineer. I went there, I went to this 1-year program. It was a pretty good program. The end of it, they guarantee you a placement with a, internship. So I ended up back in Chicago working at 35th Street Studios for a while. I interned there. I ran a couple sessions, but
So you're just doing engineering work.
yeah, engineering, and I did some freelancing on the side, just random things that I picked up, but it really just got to the point where I was like, I'd rather be the one getting recorded.
Right. Yeah.
I'd rather be the one singing than
Well-
the one pushing the buttons. And
Well,
so I ended up doing both with
Yeah.
the CD that I recorded, and it's been, especially as a female in the music industry, really good to have a background in that so that you can talk to people about how you want your music to sound and know what you're talking about.
Well, and plus, I mean, if you go into a studio and you don't bring an engineer with you, man, you know how to mic a drum kit, you know how to, mic, you know what I
Right,
mean, or
yeah.
whatever. Which I mean, is super important. People just think you throw mics in front of a drum set and it's good to go. It doesn't work like that.
Right. Yeah. There's
They know
a
how
lot.
to pick mics. I mean,
I mean, there's so much to producing a record that to me, it's almost like a miracle when I hear a record that sounds great.
yeah.
Like, there's so many ways it can go wrong, from the creation of the song to how was it produced, how was it recorded, how was it mixed.
And mastered.
And mastered.
Mastered's the big one.
Yeah, and it's like when
Yeah.
you hear something that's absolutely perfect, like, like Led Zeppelin or, something like that, and it's like actual people made that happen, and it's so magical because I've heard a lot of good songs that they didn't come out very well in the mix, and it's like, it's unfortunate because it just it was never done justice in
Right.
the recording.
I know a ton of records like
Yeah.
my favorite albums actually that are just like, man, it sounds like you
It could
recorded
have been better, yeah.
Like, I mean, the songs are great. It sounds like you recorded it in a sewer pipe.
Yeah.
It's terrible. But reverb all over. It's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, totally. And some of that's the style of the times or whatever, and we end up
Yeah.
looking back and it's so dated, early 90s over chorusy stuff, or 80s reverbs and all that kind
Ugh.
of stuff. But
Well, at least you have that under your belt, though. That's a good thing to have,
yeah, it's been super helpful, even just to get my ideas down. Like, I made a demo before for On the Outside, and I, was able to give that to the guy who recorded it for me. And it didn't sound great, but I had made up the drum part, I had made up the bass part, I put all the parts in there to be like, okay, organ and stuff, just to say, this is a sketch of the vision.
Right.
It's like the blueprint, but it's definitely not the built and painted house.
Right.
But just to have the blueprint is
Well, it sounds like on your music, you do pretty much everything. I mean, do you have any kind of producers that produce you at all? Or
well, on that one, on the Outside, I worked with a guy that I met locally. His name's Justin Richard. Unfortunately, during the finishing of the song, he moved to Michigan.
Oh.
So we were mixing long distance, and he's in Michigan now. And, you know, we had really talked about recording some more stuff and working together some more, because we kind of bonded. We're like the exact same age. We kind of bonded over the same music. And, you know, it was just cool to like work with somebody who kind of understood where I was coming from style wise. And, you know, I mean, the song came out very close to like how I wanted it to sound, and I was super happy with that. Even though it ended up being a little rushed in the end, and you know, we didn't have a lot of time to work on the vocals, and there were some things that I wasn't completely satisfied with.
Well, the song sounds great. I don't know what you're
Thanks.
nitpicking on it at all, but
but
I mean, that's your side of you're the artist. You're like, I could have done that better, you know.
Yeah.
I think every artist has that, no matter how great the song is.
Yeah.
Well, we could have done this thing better, but that's what makes it what it is. That's what makes it special, you know.
Yeah, it's what makes it human too.
That's why I love. That's why you love all that old '70s stuff, because man, tons of mistakes on that.
Oh
shit.
yeah, man.
Then it got to be, you know, the '80s with the, you know, the Def Leppards and all that, where it had to be just 100% perfect. That's not rock and roll. That's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you hear old dirty, you know, Aerosmith records from the early '70s, that's where it's at. You know what I mean? There are mistakes, you know. Not the vocals aren't perfect on every song or every line. That's what it's about for me. That's what I love about that you know, style of music from that time.
Right. Well, and music in general to me is about, you know, how you connect to it is connecting with like what it's like being like a human, right?
Right. Yeah.
So to me, music's about, you know, sharing your feelings and working through your feelings, and what emotions bring you joy and pain and whatever. And, you know, I don't really feel a lot of those emotions through something that sounds perfect and robotic.
Right. Yeah.
It depends. In certain cases that might work really well, depending on what mood you're trying to portray. But
that's one thing I noticed at the Stone show a couple weeks ago. Great band, one of the best rock and roll bands on the planet. Mm-hmm. Lots of mistakes. Right. But what I'm saying is, it was rock and roll, man. You know, it's what it was. It wasn't meant to be, you know, backing tracks and whatever. It's just straight ahead, you know, rhythm, R&B, blues, rock. It's all it is, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's when you mentioned that some of their albums, like Sweet Virginia and that kind of stuff, where it sounds like a bunch of guys in a basement singing around a mic.
Yeah, that's what it probably pretty much was.
And there's like magic to that is more magical almost than something that sounds like perfect. And I don't like. I tried really hard to not make that song sound sterile and too clean, even though a lot of those instruments on there are electronic, you know, and I didn't want it to sound so clean and slick that it lost like a human feeling to it.
Well, I think a lot of today's rock and roll it's too slick. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff out there where it's just, you listen to it, it's like, man, it sounds like it took them like 2 weeks just to record, you know, the guitar part or something, you know. It's just, you know what I mean? I think the one takers are pretty much done. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. But you know, like I said, there are some shining lights of hope on new bands. And, you know, especially local artists. There are so many great bands in this town.
Yeah,
I'm ridiculous.
I can't wait till I can get back out and see some people that I've missed seeing live for a while. But yeah, who are some of your favorite new people?
Like I said, Madame Radar is a big one. I mean, Jelly Ellington's playing down. He's got the Jelly Jam, I think, over at was it 310 Live?
Jelly Jam, that's awesome.
Yeah, he has a Christmas jam every year.
Oh, cool.
And he does it for a charity, and like
that's awesome.
I mean, a lot of the local artists will come out and, you know, play sets with him and stuff like that. He'll donate all the money to charity, which is very cool.
Oh, that's really great.
But there's another band called Greenbeard. They're like a stoner rock kind of a band.
Okay, cool.
They're great guys, and they're just a great band, you know. Just a bunch of, I mean, I wish I should have wrote a list down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But That's the thing.
Oh, I see them on your schedule coming up later.
Yeah, they're actually. Well, the funny thing is they're coming to do episode 420.
Oh, nice.
Did
you guys figure that out on purpose? Or?
They contacted me. I'm not a weed smoker, but they're
Yeah.
like, every time they come over, they're blazed. But one of the guys texted me probably maybe like a month ago, like, "Hey, you're coming up on it. Can we do 420?" It's really weird with the episodes because like what do you call it? There's a band called 333. They wanted 333, so they got that.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Every hundreds. Whatever. I think 666 is going to be a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Which is going to be a while from now.
Do something special with that
one.
one.
So it's 420 was the one that was like
That's
everybody
great.
kind of put dibs on it. But this band was all over it. Green Beer was like, we got to do 420. I'm like, okay, so I think that one's actually going to get pushed off because I think one of the guys is in New York right now. So I'm going to have to kind of maybe do a 420 and call it like 419A or B or something like that, so I can have 420 for those guys.
Yeah. Now, can you record them in different order, but then is the numbering when they're released?
I usually do them live, so the problem is.
Oh, right.
I could do, I could do anything I want. It doesn't really matter. I could do 421 tomorrow. You know what I mean? Put it up.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like I said, there's no rules up here. We just do what we want to do.
Rule-free zone.
Exactly. That's the way it should be, though.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time with this. I said, if I couldn't curse and speak my mind or talk about my personal life or whatever I want to do, I'm not going to do it. What's the point?
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a sterile thing where
totally.
Everybody's bored and like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
Listen to the same stuff over and over and over again. It's like I want to make it fun. I mean, not all of them are fucking home runs, like to the point where you're like, oh my god, that was a fucking fantastic episode, it was so great, and so crazy or whatever.
Right.
Because a lot of them are pretty nuts. They get a little crazy. But I like the serious ones, like the one we're having tonight is a serious one, which I love. Got to have a few of those in there too. What I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I caught one of your episodes. My friend Paul Betts was on here.
I've known Paul for like 25 years.
It was Jokerville, maybe.
That was a long time
ago.
More like 4 years ago.
Oh my gosh, is it really?
I don't think Jokerville's even around anymore.
Time has gone so fast. But I played in a couple bands with Paul.
Oh, do you really?
I played in Capital Suspects with him for 5 or 6 years or more.
I played in a band with Paul when I first moved here,
really?
like 30 years ago.
Oh,
it did lasted like maybe a couple of months, but it was like, he's a great bass player.
Yeah, yeah. So
he used to have his hair was like bright. He had a redhead, right? But he had this long mullet. It was like down to his ass.
Oh my
He had a
God.
mullet. It was crazy.
That's funny.
And he's a Kiss and a Cheap Trick fanatic.
Yes. Yeah.
Did he tell you the Cheap Trick story?
I don't know.
He plays these. He did. Hamer, the bass, actually guitar company. They come out with a 12-string bass.
What?
Yeah, and he had, I think, a couple of them, but he had this orangey thing. But he was gonna sell it. He goes, "I got 2 of these things. They're worth a lot of money." So he puts an ad up. I don't remember where it was. I have to ask him. And sure enough, he gets a email from this guy in Illinois, right? And this guy saying, "Oh, how much you want for it? What kind of condition?" Blah blah blah. He's talking to this guy. He's like, "Man," I got a weird feeling about this one. Come to find out, it was Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick.
Oh.
Because Tom Peterson's the one that came out with the 12-string bass.
Oh, wow.
It was his model.
So he was like wanting to gather some.
Yeah, so he actually bought that one from what do you call it? From Paul, yeah.
Paul, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's telling me this story. I'm like, holy shit. Because, and that's like one of his heroes, So
yeah.
I don't know how much he got for it in the end, but he sold it to him.
That's awesome.
But he had 2. He used to play the thing. It was like an orchestra. It's like, brrrr, it was this crazy sound that would come out of it.
That's wild.
Yeah, but he's, I don't, what is he doing these days?
Well, so
I haven't seen him in a hot minute.
Recently, we had a project that was like we were doing a Journey tribute band.
Okay.
And I was the lead singer. We did one show before a pandemic happened.
Everybody's final show so is that your final show before pandemic was that band?
I think I did one after that with the Misses, 1 or 2 after that with Finger Pistol, and I had a couple solo gigs. But this was it was like February, so like right in there.
Right.
So so we were kind of trying to figure out how to get it back together. We got together once or twice and rehearsed. And then, you know, I got really into the Twitch thing, and I just still...
Like addicted.
Yeah, I just still wasn't really feeling that comfortable going and playing indoor gigs to big crowds.
Yeah.
And some of the guys really wanted to like get going with it again. This has been the last couple months. So they had another singer come and she's singing with them right now, but I'll probably jump back in at some point.
Cool.
But yeah, it was really fun learning all the Journey songs, but it is not easy singing that stuff.
It was weird because because Journey's back out playing again.
Yeah.
And then the Arnell guy they got, not cutting it.
Really?
Not cutting it. Not like he was. Because I'm very critical of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a Steve Perry. Yeah, I love Journey.
Oh my God,
you know.
I love Steve Perry. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is he was hitting all the wrong notes. I mean, it was not good.
Yeah, I've seen some videos and I was like,
In the beginning, I mean, you know, because I think they got it from the Philippines, right?
Yeah, is that the same guy? Is he still with them?
The Asian guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Arnell Pineda.
Yeah.
So, but the new stuff that he sings on, you know, the new shows, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
You know who can sing really well is their drummer, Dean Castronova.
Oh.
He kills it. That guy can.
Really?
Yeah. So that whole band is in a bit of a disarray right now because they're putting members in and out. It's a big hot mess now. So I think the only two original guys is like Jonathan Cain and then Neil, and that's it.
Oh.
The rest of them are all new.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. So.
Yeah. Steve Perry, one of my favorite singers of all time for sure. I just bow down. Did you know, music trivia, that his favorite singer, Sam Cooke, right? Mm-hmm. They have the same birthday.
Do they really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Like maybe 20 years apart or something like that.
Well, God, he's like almost 70 now.
Yeah.
He's over 70. He's got to be.
I think he's a 71 or something like that. Yeah.
Did you hear his new solo record that came out? Did you listen to that?
No.
It came out maybe a year ago. And it just sounds like Journey.
Actually, I think I might have watched an interview that he put out around the time, and it had some clips from it, and it was okay, but it's just hard to, I don't know.
No matter what that guy sings on, it's going to sound like a Journey song.
He always sounds great. It's a matter of, is the music as good as Journey?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think, you know, because I really honestly think, because, you know, they want him back in the band. They just really want him back to do one more final tour with it or whatever. The reason why I think one of the reasons he doesn't do it, because he can't hit those notes anymore. His voice is not. They have to
bring it down.
They got to tune it down a little bit to hit all that stuff.
Well, and props to him for knowing that and accepting that, because there are some other musicians of that era who I probably shouldn't name, but I've seen a couple.
Vince Neil.
known for their amazing singing.
Yeah.
I had a friend who had a friend who was on Bon Jovi's tour, and he absolutely refused to lower any keys of any songs.
Really?
Like almost like it was a pride thing. And it was like, okay, as a singer, I lower keys if I need to.
Right.
To me, my vanity would override my pride, as far as I would rather have it sound good than say, no, I can still sing that B flat.
You can't sing this stuff
because you want the audience to have a good experience too, you know.
Yeah, I've noticed that over the years too with him, yeah.
Yeah.
And I always thought that Richie Sambora was the singer in that band. That guy can sing.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
I think he's better than John. I really do.
Really?
I've always said that. If you listen to his solo records and then listen to a John Bon Jovi solo record, you'd be like going, oh yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
He's a monster singer.
Plus the guitaring, of course.
Oh, he's my favorite guitar player of all time.
He's
Richie
great.
Sambora. He's a phenomenal guitar player.
Yeah.
I can't wait. And supposedly he's coming out on his own solo record pretty soon.
Really?
Yeah. So the Steve Perry thing, you know, another dude too that I think, you know, like the whole, you know, Robert Plant Led Zeppelin thing, he even came out and said that they went, you know, I think back 10 years ago, they did a reunion show in London or something.
Yeah.
The O2, it was 2007, I think. Anyways, they really wanted to get a Led Zeppelin thing back and just make $1 billion.
Right?
They offered him some ungodly amount of money.
Come on, people.
But he said, he goes, you know what? He goes, that night was special. He goes, I can't go out and sing that stuff 4 or 5 nights a week.
Right.
I can't do it. I just can't make it sound that good. My voice is in a different range now.
Yeah, you'd need more recovery. Though I did see him. He played at the Moody Theater in 2016.
Did you go?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
It was amazing. I mean, I was like, I probably cried like 4 or 5 times during that.
Oh, he's awesome.
Because and he did he played some Zeppelin tunes. Some of them were like live remixes, like they were very different.
Oh yeah.
But some of them were pretty close, and he still sounded good. But I could see how there's a difference between doing a big show and doing a big show 30 times in a row.
Yeah.
You know, and they'd have to space the tour out more. You just need more time to recover as you get older too from.
I mean, if they went out, it'd probably be like once or twice a week, maybe.
Right.
You know?
And that probably would be doable, you know, I would think.
Do like the weekends or something like that. That's what the Stones did. I think the Stones did weekends. You know,
for
they
this
weren't out.
Tour they're
oh
on.
yeah. Well, they're all done. See, the Austin show was supposed to be the last show.
Oh.
And I think they booked one more as I'm not sure if it was a private event or something right after that. But they're talking like they're done. Well, because Charlie died.
Right.
And they always said if Charlie passed away, that they would end the band. That would be it.
Yeah.
So it just happened at the weird time, you know.
In the middle of a tour.
And they had the commitments they had to make up.
Yeah.
So they got, Steve Jordan played drums, and that was it. So I think they're going to pretty much call it a day. And like, here's the deal. What do those guys have to prove?
Right.
They've been in the same band for 60 years.
If they're doing it, they're only doing it because they love doing it. There's
Yeah.
no other reason it's not like they need the money at this point.
They'll
Probably.
all go on and do solo stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And it's all going to be great and people go watch it. But I mean, as a Stones, that thing is like I don't know if you've ever seen them before.
I never have, and I kind of regret because I know they've been around here a few times since I've lived here. But
yeah, I've seen them like 4 or 5 times over the years.
Yeah.
But the thing with that, it's not like going to a concert. It's not even like going to a festival. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's its own like entity. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
Because when you go to a Stone show, it's sort of like it's like going to Chuck E. Cheese when you're a kid or something, man. It's just like, holy shit. There was like 80,000 people there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they probably packed in more, but it's like everybody treats it as a once in a lifetime kind of a thing.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And it was so awesome.
Yeah, I got that. Well, I got to see Bruce Springsteen, which is one of my absolute heroes.
I've never seen him.
He was here at the Irwin Center in 2009. And that was, probably one of the best shows I've ever been to. He played for almost 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. He's one of those guys.
It was great. It was the last tour that Clarence was still alive for.
Awesome.
And so the very first song, they just open up with like Badlands. And I'm like,
nothing but hits.
I'm like bawling my eyes out.
Oh,
it was just amazing, even though we were, far away and, the cheap seats. But
yeah, we got tickets to Fleetwood Mac in May. They're coming here in May.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Cool.
They
got rescheduled, right?
No, I'm not sure if it got rescheduled.
2 May, maybe. I don't know.
Well, they just played in Dallas. My girlfriend was supposed to go for her birthday, and because of COVID, they just canceled their tickets out.
Oh, that sucks.
So, but they just announced a date here in Austin, and it sold out so quick that they added another date on top of it. So we're going to the first night.
I wonder if that one sold out too.
I don't know.
I would love to see them. We had tickets to go see Stevie in like 2001, and she canceled it because she was sick. It sucked. But,
So hopefully Lindsey Buckingham's back in the fray back then. I think he's coming back. So
is he really?
Supposedly, yeah. They're talking about it.
I know there was so much drama.
Oh, there's always, man, that whole band's full of drama. That's what that band's about. They all have drama. And the thing is, a lot of those bands can't stand each other, but they see the paychecks that they're getting, so they're going to make it work.
Yeah.
They'll
just all go to their separate rooms.
Separate tour buses,
or
separate planes or whatever. Like the Eagles, same thing, all hate each other.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
And it's sad. It's a sad thing to me,
It is. It's hard being around people that much and not developing those weird dynamics, though. I'm sure weird resentments and weird things happen in bands. If it doesn't, you're lucky, I think. Did you watch that Beatles Get Back
I'm in the
thing
middle
yet?
of it.
Oh, really? I just finished it a few days
It's
ago.
like 9 hours or something like that.
It's so crazy. It's kind of like, I don't know what you feel about it, but I mean, it's really cool for me to see them
in the creative mode,
work out their songs.
And
And like, bash on their lyrics and like talk about how corny this line is or that line.
yeah.
And it's like, Beatles, they're just like us. Like the same struggles, the same insecurities that like any musician has.
I got to the part where George Harrison quit.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of the second one. Then he came back.
Yeah. So it's fun. My favorite part then you haven't gotten to yet, but yeah, but it is kind of like a lot of like watching a long band rehearsal, like almost like,
well, I mean,
realistic to the point of boring. But
the cool thing is, I mean, if you're a musician, it's like it goes. My girlfriend was mentioning this, it's like just to watch the genius of those guys.
Yeah.
Of course, Ringo was kind of sitting back there, just not even doing much. But he was just half the time he was like he was sleeping or something, or just kind of hanging out. But the other three were just in this crazy, just writing mode of all these super monster hits that you've heard a million times.
Like watching Paul just like make up fake words for like Get Back.
Oh, the Get Back thing was killer.
That was amazing. Yeah. But also was like, okay, so the takeaway here is Paul's ingenious. Everybody else is just goof offs.
And it looked like he was kind of a control freak, didn't it?
It did.
It kind of came, because I was talking to my buddy about it. I was actually texting while I was watching. He's a big Beatles freak. And he goes, and he doesn't have Disney Plus. That's where it's on.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, you want to come over and we'll watch it together? And he's like, man, I might just do that. But anyways, he goes, well, what are you getting from it? I said, I think Paul McCartney's a control freak, it looks like, in a lot of it.
It's hard, though, because when you're that person that hears how the whole song should sound, and you've got people that aren't making that happen, it can be really frustrating.
But did you hear what they said, though? I don't think they said it on that. I was listening to a interview that Paul McCartney they had an interview about that.
Oh, cool.
And they were talking about how long it took them to write a song. And he goes, every Beatles song took 1 day to write.
Wow.
Except for one. So it was a Baby You Can Drive My Car.
Oh, okay.
And that was the only one that took 2 days to do
Interesting.
Wow. But they wrote every song that they ever wrote in 1 day.
Wow.
That's crazy. All those, I mean, you imagine trying to write an album like Sgt. Pepper's, like one song a day for however long it,
Yeah.
I mean, recording it might have took a little while longer.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
and probably like you could see in the video, he would come back and fine tune the lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
But it seemed like the idea was there. Yeah.
That's just insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, you go see Paul McCartney, it's nothing but hits. Nothing but hits.
Oh my God.
Every song's a hit. Doesn't matter if it's Beatles, Wings, his solo stuff, every song.
Yeah. But that's what the people want. He knows he was a Beatle. You give the people what they want to hear. All killer, no filler.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's just, if you have that much killer, you don't need any filler. So it's like, why,
Yeah, so the next night, you know what I watched the next night?
What?
You're going to laugh. Remember that movie Ringo did? Like, it was called Caveman?
No.
You ever seen it?
Uh-uh.
This thing's horrific. It's Ringo Starr and I think Dennis Quaid's in it, whatever. It's like 1980.
Oh, wow.
And it's called Caveman. So it's like set in prehistoric time.
Oh, my God, no.
It's set in prehistoric time, right?
No.
And there's no, they all ooga booga kind of stuff, right? They don't speak any English in it.
Oh, no.
And so they're like trying to run away from dinosaurs and, how to stand up straight. And you get...
Is it a comedy at least?
I don't know what you would call it. I guess it's a comedy.
I mean, or is it more like Planet of the Apes kind
No,
of?
it's not. It's not Planet of the Apes by any means. I think it's more of a comedy than Planet of the Apes is. It's the stupidest movie ever made. But I'm like going, why did he do this?
I thought you were gonna say the movie that they were filming in the television studio down the hall.
That never got released.
It didn't.
No, because what happened is, from what I gather. I know a little bit about it before I even watched it.
Yeah.
That the main thing was when they played on top of Apple. That was the concert they played at the end.
Yeah.
That was because what they wanted to do. I think they were gonna record an album live on television. That's what the deal was.
Right. Yeah.
Or something like that.
Which is like what?
Well, they're gonna play it live.
And that would be the album.
That would be the album.
Yeah.
But so that didn't happen either. So I don't know. But they ended up playing on top of Abbey Road. That was I think the last time they ever played together.
Yeah.
I think 6 or 7 songs. That's all. And they were supposed to have 17 songs? Was it 17 or 14?
14 or something.
14 songs. They ended up with 6 or 7.
And so those songs end up on the album Let It Be, right? How long is that album? How many? I wonder how many are on it.
Hold on a second.
Do you have it?
Yeah. There it is right here.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so there's 7 on the first, and there's like 5, so 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Insanity. Yeah, I think after that record, that was it.
Yeah.
I know, it's doing what I do and the people that I know.
Major good stuff.
There's major stuff on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know not so many, probably a handful of people that have recorded in Abbey Road.
Wow.
And they always tell me that when they first get in there, it's like, the first take, it's like they just freeze.
I know. That's what
like,
I would be like.
They freeze.
Yeah, it would take me a minute to get over that.
You got to realize what was recorded there. Beatles stuff. Dark Side of the Moon was fucking done there. Pink Floyd. Just a ton of stuff.
I think some of our local Austin heroes have gone, like, hasn't like Gary Clark Jr. or somebody recorded out there. That's really cool. Very cool.
Anyway, we got another video to play.
Oh, yeah.
We've been wrapping around on stuff here.
This is another pandemic song that I wrote earlier, well, around the same time. I released this one sooner. But yeah, it's kind of a throwback pop vibe.
A throwback pop vibe?
Yeah, like a Brill building kind of vibe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is the Brill building still a thing anymore?
No, I don't think so.
You were part of that songwriters group, right?
Yeah.
I had a friend that was in that. Might have been, was it
really?
Lance Keltner maybe?
I don't know if I know him. Maybe he was in it after it's been about a year since I've been.
If you gave me a list of names who was in there, I could pick out the one it was. I thought it was Lance.
Maybe it is Lance.
Because someone was telling me about it, how they would throw an idea at you, then you had to write a song about it or something like that.
Yeah, and people would come and go because the rules were very strict, and we all agreed to them. If you didn't write a song every 2 weeks and turn it in before midnight on Tuesday night, you were out of the group.
So what did they do with all the songs?
Well, they were just each our individual songs that we used. Each person had to write their own version of whatever topic Aaron came up with, who was the leader of the group. And I did it for almost 2 years. Wow. And then about a year ago, I just started getting a little burned out just by pandemic and what was going on in the country at that time, and just a lot of stress. And so I was just like, I'm going to take you're allowed to, if you leave on good terms, you can come back after a year.
Well, that's good.
So I could come back now if I wanted to, but it was great I wrote, close to 50 songs.
Wow, that's a lot of songs.
One every 2 weeks for 2 years, and 2 of them have been released now in the past year. So
have you been going back to the old ones? For
and I play a lot of them on my live streams.
Oh, nice.
And I've got, I could make a couple of EPs out of some of them. Some of them predate the songwriting group as well, of course. But that was really good for me, just to wake up my songwriting muscles again. And, I was always kind of the mind that I would only write if I was inspired to write. But
that's how it should be anyway.
But being forced to do it is kind of like a problem-solving exercise in a way, And when you're told, write a song that has a color in it, write a song about a place you've never been to, write a song using these 5 words, and you have to figure out how to fit these 5 words that somebody else picked into your song. And it was really cool to see how a dozen different people would use those 5 words and what story they would build around that.
So did you have anybody in the group ask to use your songs for anything?
No, we had all agreed that if somebody wanted to cover something, if they got permission, they'd had to ask permission if they wanted to cover it. But no, nobody from the group, and there's been some collaborations spawned off from the group as well. But I have had some of my friends from Twitch cover my songs, that other streamers that liked on the outside and covered it through 3 or 4 different people. So that's been kind of cool. But
let's play the On the Outside video.
All right, this is going to be Keep Calm, I think.
What's that?
Keep Calm. I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
We already played that one.
We
Okay.
heard on the outside. This is keep
I'm
calm.
sorry.
No,
Faux pas on my part.
Another song that I was forced to write by the taskmasters of the songwriting group. Yeah.
Well, here it is. Keep calm. Enjoy.
Is now the time to run before we crawl? Maybe it's a time to pause or do nothing at all. Is now the time to say it's not enough? Keep playing the odds, keep testing the gods, but the beauty in waiting is a little more certainty. Keep calm, keep cool, my baby. Tough it out with me. We got the rest of our lives to run wild in the streets. For now, you're gonna sit there patiently. Is now the time to try to have it all? You gotta have probable cause or have a reason to call. Is now the time to try to raise the bar, to take it all the way. Can you love someone from afar? 'Cause what I'm anticipating is a little more certainty. Keep calm, keep cool, my baby. Stare down hell with me. We got the rest of our lives to run wild in the streets. For now, you're gonna sit there patiently, patiently, patiently.
There it is.
All right.
You're a star.
You're a star, baby.
You're a star, baby. So what have you been doing with the videos? Have you put them on like Vimeo and stuff?
They're
or?
on my YouTube channel.
How they doing on YouTube? Good.
All right. Yeah. I'm not very good at promoting things. I
Me
try,
either.
but
There's only so much promotion you can do.
well, and that's the thing is like I've tried doing like Facebook ads and stuff, and occasionally they help, but occasionally it's like, well, that was like $12 I just threw out. It's like I don't know.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
Right. I mean,
the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is, it's not even a problem. There's so much out there. It's oversaturated with stuff.
Yeah.
And if you can kind of just piggyback on something that's bigger, like if you know someone that's at a different level than you and they share it, boom.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's all over.
It's hard. I listen to different people that talk about how to run your social media and how many times a day you should post things
and what time.
Right. And that like if you're promoting a new song, like you should post it on Twitter at least 10 times a day, and you should post it on Instagram at least 2 times. And I'm like, I see that the people that follow me, they will stop clicking on my Instagram stories if I post stuff that much. But like I put it on the outside on October 22nd. Today I reposted a reel about the song.
Right.
And somebody was like, "Oh, awesome, you released a new song. I'm going to check that out when I get to a good stereo." And I'm like, this is a guy who regularly interacts with me.
Right.
And I've probably posted at least 100 posts about my new song in the past 6 weeks.
He
and I'm
wasn't
like,
listening.
So, or he just wasn't scrolling when it came down, or he doesn't look at stories, or whatever it is. So that tells me, well, they're not totally wrong for telling you to post 3 times a day on Instagram and 12 times a day on Twitter. And because people, you see it all, but the people who follow you, they don't see everything you post.
Well, yeah, that's the problem with all the algorithms now and stuff.
Yeah.
I think those mediums kind of pick and choose who can see what, and it's really a pain in the ass.
And
like
it's kind of evil too, because then they
totally is, 100%.
They just want you to buy ads.
That's what it's all about.
And then
it's all about making
they
money.
still don't show it to anybody, and it's like, I don't know
Sponsored.
what. Yeah, I don't know what 12 people just saw this ad because I got like 2 clicks on it or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? It makes no sense.
Well, they want you to do a campaign. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And the campaign gets them to get some big ass money.
Yeah.
So you want to drop $1,000 to, and it's like, oh man, it's a lot of money for. And then you look at it kind of going, okay, if I put $1,000 down, right? I mean, what am I really actually going to get out of it? You're not.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to get 1 million views.
I mean, even if you got 1,000 followers.
Yeah,
from that,
I think I'd rather have the followers than I would have the clicks or not clicks, but the likes on the.
Right. Well, hoping
video.
that those followers would then continue to be engaged and continue to view things for perpetuity after that. But even that's like.
And that's the thing. It's like how many bases can you cover? I mean, you're on Twitch. Twitch is your major one. Then you got to move over to Facebook and to YouTube and Twitter if you're going to do that.
Right.
I mean, it's like you only have so many hours in a day.
Instagram, TikTok.
It's too much.
It's a lot.
You need a social media team.
I know.
Honestly, that's what it comes down to.
And I like doing the social media stuff, but it does, it keeps me from, I spend so much time doing social media. I'm not making demos of my songs.
You're not writing songs.
Right. It's like promoting stuff that you're barely able to produce.
You have your husband do all that. honey, I'm going to write songs and you're just going to work the social media end of it.
Yeah.
There you go. See? Smart. He's like, I don't think so.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not into that. Like,
is he into social media?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's kind of keeps a low profile.
That's good.
I mean, not to the point of like, don't post a picture of me, but just to the point of like, he doesn't post his own stuff very much,
I know
He's
people
not
are just checking out. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Just
I
done.
mean, there's
Just
people
done.
that I can't find anymore. That I know them,
They're going
but
off the
I
grid.
can't find them online. And I think, some people are they're really concerned about how their data's being used and how it's being collected.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not wrong. But, for me, like, I'm almost the opposite, where people that are trying to promote themselves, their businesses or their music or their content, you want every eye on you that you can get, but you are giving up something in exchange for that.
Of course,
you are giving up a lot of privacy in exchange for that. So it's like trying to maximize it as much as you can, without giving up too much privacy.
Well, that's the whole thing. Because if it wasn't for the podcast, I mean, there's going to come a day where I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
My thing was I was going to hit 1,000 episodes. I was going to call it a day. So I got a lot of room to move.
Yeah.
But after that, I would just shut everything down. I would just close all the accounts down.
Yeah.
I mean, forget about it. It's just you need to live your life offline. It's just what it comes down to.
Like in real life.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. I mean, every time I turn on the news, like I'll check out the news feed at work on my computer. It's always this TikToker, 18 years old, died. This 25-year-old, Instagram star died. I was like, it's all this bad stuff.
Yeah.
Because, or this one got stalked. This like a fan came and killed this Instagram star or whatever. It's like it's
terrible.
Nuts. It's just too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I wish I would. Part of me, I love the technology part of it. I think it's great that we all can kind of keep dibs on each other.
Yeah,
but what did we do
absolutely.
back in the old days? You know what I mean? You actually had to call somebody. And
Right.
my thing is now, as I try to call people to talk to them instead of texting.
Nobody wants to answer their phone though. Do they?
Remember when you had a cell phone and it was like you had minutes and you always worried about your minutes? Now you don't even worry about them anymore because you're not talking to anybody.
Right? No, they tricked us into texting, I guess.
Yeah, I was talking to a buddy of mine. I was texting him real quick. I just called him. I said, "Dude, I'm my fingers are tired. Let's just talk."
It's true.
Yeah, I'd rather talk to you than
your fingers are tired. Your eyes are tired.
Yeah, you're like, man, let's just talk, man, for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It is what it is. It's necessary evil in the business we're in.
It is. It is.
Anyway, so speaking of all that fun stuff, where can people find you on social media? The lovely social media.
Oh,
you're everywhere.
I'm everywhere.
You're like Jesus. You're everywhere.
I do well. My Twitch channel.
That's the main thing.
Is at twitch.tv is the website, but then it's /Mandy Prater. I also am on. I post a lot of stuff on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So that's the Mandy Prater, and Twitter's the same, and TikTok. But I don't do a lot on TikTok. But also still exist on Facebook. I sometimes stream my live shows on Facebook, like my in-person gigs. Mm-hmm. So I'll be on Facebook sometimes. And then my YouTube channel is where I now post. It's kind of an archive of my past live streams from Twitch.
Oh, that's cool.
I've started doing that recently. There was this whole shakedown on Twitch about 6 months ago where they let the music community know that they were getting a lot of copyright infringement notices from record companies and stuff, and that we were in danger of getting our channels shut down if we left up our videos of past streams that had copyrighted music, because almost everybody on Twitch plays cover music. In addition to some people have original music, but a lot of the entertainers on Twitch mainly play covers. And so we had to take down all of our past videos, which was, hundreds of hours of music and stuff. And so people started moving their past streams onto YouTube. So I've been a little slow with doing that, but I probably have 20 or 30 of them on there now.
There's some bands that actually will come after you. I'll give you an example really quick. Back in the early days of the podcast, I would always take videos of bands all the time. I put up on my CobraCast page on YouTube. And one of the bands was doing a Led Zeppelin cover.
Oh.
And I put that up. Next day, I got hit up by Swan Song Music.
Wow.
And, ASCAP, BMI, everything to do with Led Zeppelin came down and said, you need to take this down. You copyright infringement. If this happens again, you could lose your channel. I mean, they're going nuts. But there's certain bands, and Zeppelin's one of the big ones, that will come after you.
Huh.
Yeah, they'll come after you.
Interesting.
Yeah. They got that set up right, those people. I mean, they just don't play around.
Yeah, it's a little risky.
Yeah, but then there's other bands that don't, all the cover bands that post stuff up, I wonder how they get away with it.
Yeah, I guess it's a tribute. Well, ABBA just sued some ABBA tribute band because they called themselves like ABBA the Experience or something, and people actually thought it was the real ABBA, and they tried to get them to just change their name to say tribute in the name of the band, and they refused, so they're suing them now, which I can understand that, but I think it's kind of an odd interaction between the band and the tribute band.
I think it's up to the bands, because I have a buddy that plays in a band called Strangelove. They're a Depeche Mode tribute band.
Cool.
And they're actually, if you ever heard of that show, it's on TV. It's something about Battle of the Cover Bands or something. It's like on, it's not Lifetime. It's a big thing though.
Huh.
But they play shows all over the world.
Cool.
And they're playing like big places. They're not playing small places. I think they played Emos last time they were here. Sold it out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Monster. And Brent, the guitar player, he's actually a teacher at School of Rock in Round Rock.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. They just came up and did a podcast. I think they played, oh God, where the hell did they play that? They're playing the next night here in Austin. They sold it out. But he said Depeche Mode loves them. You know, because there's going to become a time where Depeche Mode's not going to be around, you know?
Right. And it kind of keeps enthusiasm. I mean, who knows? People may go out and download or buy albums after hearing that band that they didn't.
You ever heard that
buy
band
before.
Brit Floyd, the Pink Floyd tribute thing?
No.
Let me tell you something. Those guys are playing arenas.
That's amazing.
I saw them at Cedar Park Center, and it's like a full, I mean, it's a miniaturized version of the Pink Floyd show.
That's awesome.
Right? But they play, I mean, they're playing solo shows at Red Rocks. They're playing all over the place.
Wow.
And I always wondered how they get away with it because they're playing all Pink Floyd music to the T. Either the band gets a piece of that.
Maybe they do. Well, because you can get different kinds of royalties, performance royalties and stuff. I actually saw a good Led Zeppelin tribute band here maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, Kenny used to play in one.
Oh, really?
Kenny was a man called, I think it was Custard Pie he played in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember what this one was called, but they toured too. They were like just in town for the day when they came, and they were really good. They even did like the 9-minute drum solo on Moby Dick or whatever. Like the rest of the band left the stage and took a break, but yeah, it's interesting.
But you know,
you get away with it.
Sooner or later, that's going to happen with all bands because, you know, like Kiss is going to be gone. Aerosmith's going to be on their way out. You know, all these older bands, I mean, they're just going to find these cover bands that kind of take their place, and people will go to it because they're hungry for it, you know?
Right. Well, and that's like the cover band world. Like, people love hearing stuff that they know. Mm-hmm. And if you do a decent job at recreating it, it kind of like takes you to another time in your life. You kind of reminisce, and it's like it's healthy. I think music can like heal you,
especially now. I think people are just really hungry to get back out there and sort of live a normal life again, whatever that means these days.
That means. So
anyways, so what shows you got coming up?
Well, like I said, I'm doing the 360 Uno this Saturday. On the 21st, I'm playing at the Longhorn with Finger Pistol. That's December 21st. That's a Tuesday. And then I've kind of been taking off from Three Legged Goat. If it gets too cold, since it's outside, I don't do the outside gigs in the wintertime.
It's supposed to be 80 tomorrow.
But I know. I'm like, I hope it's...
I walked outside tonight. I was on the front to wave to you so you find the right house. And I'm like, man, it's like 70 degrees out here.
It's so warm, yeah.
December in Texas,
Yeah, I've kind of been a little slow at trying to get back in touch with some of the places I used to play just because I want to... All these variants come and go, and it's like I've had so many gigs get canceled. Yeah, I've had so many things that have to get canceled, and I've been trying to shuffle.
Get that booster, people.
Things around. So yeah, get the booster. Be
booster.
safe.
That booster was easy.
Yeah.
What's up with the booster? The booster compared to the other two shots was a little weird because it was. I mean, I didn't even feel the thing going in.
Yeah, it
was a strange kind of a shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, I even told the girl, I was like, I play guitar, I don't know which arm I should do. I did the first two in this arm, and then I had pains and problems and stuff. And she's like, okay, well, I'll try to put it in a good spot. And she did, and it was less than a little poke. It wasn't bad at all.
I'll tell you what, man. Hopefully this one is the second shot. Actually both of them, it felt like someone hit me in the arm with a sledgehammer.
Yes.
And it was sore as fuck for like 2 or 3 days. I mean, it hurt really, really bad.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of going, is this one going to hurt that bad? I hope not.
Is it like a smaller dose or something? I don't even know.
I think it is because they write on your card what they put in there, but it was like just, I mean, it didn't even feel like a shot. It was like,
I was like, is she done already? Yeah.
If you're good. I'm like, what?
Yeah, my second one hurt like hell. It was like, felt like somebody was shoving a marble under my skin. Ooh. Like terrible, like literally.
Well,
but
better be
the
safe than
booster
sorry.
was good. Yeah, I mean, it's a small price to pay to try to...
I wish everybody would get
to
it.
feel a little safer about trying to live a normal life and to help protect our fellow humans and who we're around.
That's what I wear a mask for, is because I tell people, they're like, why are you wearing a mask? I say, well, what if I have it?
Right.
You want me to give it to you?
Right, exactly. It's like, let's just
do the fucking
thoughtful.
right thing. Just do the right thing.
Yeah.
Is it that hard?
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard?
It's not that
hard. Am I
hard.
infringing on your freedom? Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much for coming
Thanks
up.
for having me.
No problem.
Really fun chatting with you.
I know. It's
and
nice
meeting
meeting
you.
I know, finally.
Yeah.
After all this time.
Yeah. So.
Anyways, I end this podcast the same way every single time. So I'm not going to change it at this point. Maybe I'll change it in the new year. Anyways, people, please try to do the right thing because Lord knows most of you don't. And with that, we're out of here. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we'll see you, I think, on a Monday. Peace out, people.
All right.